When I was a boy, my great uncle used to take me on his shoulders down to the launch of the big ships at Harland and Wolff. It was a sight to behold. I'm Sam Robinson, and I'm on a journey into Belfast's maritime past. This leg of the trail is going to take us to the places where our illustrious shipbuilding heritage began. A heritage that is, at its very core, Ulster Scots. I've come to meet historian William Rolston, who has dug out old maps to show me where it all began. Is there a point on these maps where we see the first evidence of shipbuilding in Belfast?
Well, it's interesting that in the 1580s, as far back as the 1580s, the Lord Deputy of Ireland actually makes the comment that the best place to establish a shipbuilding industry in the northern part of the island is at Belfast.
Right.
So even as long ago as the 1580s, Belfast was recognised as having at least the potential for a shipbuilding industry. But it's not really until the late 18th century that we actually see the modern shipbuilding industry in Belfast established.
The automatic assumption is that it was Harland and Wolff who established that, but that's not the case, is it? Shipbuilding
goes back a bit further than that. So over the course of the 17th century, we have significant migration from Scotland into Ulster, and it comes in different waves over the period of 100 years and more, in fact. So we have now a fairly well-established Scottish population, Ulster Scots population. In 1791, William Ritchie moved from Saltcoats in Ayrshire to Belfast to establish a first modern shipyard in the town.
William Ritchie saw an opportunity. He realised that all the ships that were coming to the city were being built either in England or Scotland. On July the 1st, he returned with 10 Scottish workers and established the first shipyard on the River Lagan. And what did he see in Belfast and others before in Ireland as regards building ships?
Well, Belfast started really interesting. I would say it's about 7 years before the 1798 rebellion. There's a whole lot of thinking. There's a lot of intellectual drive in Belfast. People here have a lot of imagination and creativity to bring, and he just figured this place is on the up. It was also really heavily populated by people from Scotland, like Ritchie himself. So it's easy to move to a place where the people are kind of on your wavelength, and like a good canny Scot, he knew the value of a pound and wanted to make a profit.
So Ritchie's dock is essentially underneath Corporation Square, and Ritchie's shipyard is where the Harbour Commissioner's building is now. So that was the beginnings of the modern shipbuilding industry in Belfast. So Ritchie coming across here, 1791, and bringing over skilled tradesmen with him as well. It's small scale to begin with. We're talking about a small shipyard, but it's the beginning of something that then becomes global in importance.
Just a year after their arrival, William and his brother Hugh, who had joined him from Scotland, launched their first vessel, the Hibernia, whose maiden voyage was to New York.
First one that he built was one that could sail across the Atlantic. So these were people with a huge vision and ambition as well.
On New Year's Day 1800, the century began with the opening of a dry dock in Belfast, built by the Ritchies and named No. 1 Graving Dock. It allowed 3 ships to be built at the same time. It survives today behind the Belfast Harbour Commissioner's offices, evidence of the existence of the Ritchie shipyard it used to lie beside. And Ritchie's family, do they remain to this day as part of the Belfast fabric?
For a number of generations, certainly they were here and they were very involved in I think it was Rosemary Street, non-subscribing Presbyterian church. They're part of that whole kind of, I mean, elite is the wrong word to use in the Belfast setting, because Belfast isn't really run by landlords. It's run by this merchant class who are all prospering and doing really well. And it seems to have been a place where there was like genuine openness just to people who were able to come and work hard and to make their way in the world.
For the next 20 years, William built 32 ships and employed over 100 tradesmen. By the time of his retirement in 1829, his ships had traded everywhere, from the US and Canada to the West Indies. This is Clifton House, home of the Belfast Charitable Society. It's within these grounds that William Ritchie, the father of Belfast shipbuilding, is buried. And on this somewhat forgotten tombstone, the final resting place of William Ritchie. The grave itself doesn't really do justice to the legacy both Ritchie and his family left the city of Belfast.